I am Socrates, an iconic Greek philosopher who lived during the 5th century BCE, leaving behind a legacy that has influence even today. I did not write any books, but my ideas were recorded by my students, most notably Plato.
Books give a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything.
Hello. I am Plato, the founder of the world's first university academy, the mentor of Aristotle, the innovator of the written conversational style dialogue, the challenger of the norms, and the namesake of Platonic love. I am Aristotle, one of the greatest thinkers of all time and the tutor of Alexander the Great, who conquered much of the known world.
There is nothing impossible to him. All try.
In his Divine Comedy, the poet Dante describes me as the master of those who know. My curiosity set the stage for groundbreaking discoveries that would change the world. Born in 384 BC in the ancient Greek city of Stagira, I had unbelievable thirst for knowledge in many fields including philosophy, politics, science, and logic. Being a student of my great teacher Plato, I absorbed wisdom from my mentor, which paved the way for my own groundbreaking philosophy.
The measure of a man is what he does with power.
I believe that the measure of a man is what he does with power. I was born in Athens, Greece, around 427 BC. My philosophical works delve deep into various topics like politics, ethics, and metaphysics. Except for few exceptional cases, in my dialogues, I never speak in my own voice. Almost in every dialogue of mine, my great teacher, Socrates features. I use the Socratic method of questioning to stimulate critical thinking and challenge ideas. Can you give me an example? What do we already know about this? Why do you say that? Could you explain further? How does this relate to our discussion? What else could we assume? What evidence is there to support what you are saying? How could you look another way at this? Then what would happen? How does that apply to everyday life? Why do you think I asked this question? Believing in the power of questioning and encouraging people to think critically, I questioned almost everything, including my own knowledge, to be able to get closer to the truth. My method for seeking truth, which is now called the Socratic Method, consists of series of thought-provoking questions that aim to reveal contradictions in arguments. Through my relentless questioning method, I sought to expose the flaws and biases in people's thinking. I believe that everyone has great knowledge within them, waiting to be discovered through dialogue and self-reflection. I also believe that true wisdom comes from acknowledging our own intellectual limitations. Remember, the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey, one that requires humility and intellectual curiosity. My method of dialogue aimed at reaching a shared understanding, fostering intellectual growth and progress. I inspired a new generation of philosophers who would go on to shape the fields of ethics, logic, and epistemology. I emphasized the importance of self-reflection and the continuous pursuit of truth and knowledge. As being a champion of intellectual freedom, valuing the individual's ability to think for themselves, one of my statements was, "I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing." This profound statement of mine encapsulates my humble approach to wisdom and the value I place on lifelong learning. I believed in a hierarchy of knowledge, with philosophers being the most enlightened and capable of governing societies. In my best-known work, The Republic, still being one of the world's most influential works of philosophy and political theory, I raise the question, what is justice? And I explore the ideal society, where philosophers are the rulers and strive for justice and equality. According to my concept of the Philosopher-King, the rulers should possess knowledge and wisdom to govern a just society. My allegory of the cave, or Plato's cave, portrays the journey from ignorance to enlightenment. I categorize governments into 5 types of regimes: aristocracy, timocracy, oligarchy, democracy, and tyranny. For the question, what is the basis of moral and social obligation? My well-known answer rests upon the fundamental responsibility to seek wisdom, which leads to an understanding of the form of the good. In my view, the good is the supreme form. In my theory of forms, I discuss that the physical world is not really the real world. Instead, ultimate reality exists beyond our physical world. I believe that true knowledge could only be attained through reasoning and contemplation, rather than relying on our senses alone. The Academy, founded by me, was the world's first university, which became a flourishing center of learning at my time. It was a gathering place for intellectuals, encouraging critical thinking and dialogue. In my view, the wise person uses the mind to understand moral reality and then applies it to the daily life. One of my famous students include Aristotle, who went on to become another influential philosopher.
Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom.
My contributions to logic, biology, and physics laid the foundation for modern science. My belief in observation and empirical evidence transformed the way that people understand the natural world. I believed in the concept of teleology, which meant everything in nature has a purpose. My book, Politics, explored the complexities of government and advocated for a balance of power. I was fascinated with ethics, which led to development of virtue ethics, emphasizing moral character and personal integrity. In my treatise, Nicomachean Ethics, I delved into the nature of happiness and the pursuit of a fulfilling life. My teachings also permeated European thought during the medieval ages, shaping the worldview of scholars and theologians. The impact of my work can still be felt today, from logical principles to classification of plants and animals. My notion of the golden mean, as a balance between excess and deficiency in moral virtues, remains relevant in pursuit of harmony.
Sometimes you put walls up, not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down.
My method is mostly utilized in teaching as well as in cognitive behavioral therapy, and particularly helpful when applied in business situations to cope with weak assumptions, concepts, and fixed mindsets.
It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light.
My ideas on rhetoric have influenced public speaking and persuasion techniques throughout history. I believe that, in rhetoric, a speaker can use 3 basic kinds of appeals to persuade the audience: ethos, character, pathos, emotion, and logos, logical reasoning. I believed in the connection between music and emotions, which foreshadowed the fields of psychology and neuroscience. I am the first person who studied biology systematically. It forms a large part of my writings and laid the foundation for the scientific study of living organisms. I am also one of the first persons to record any geological observations, including meteorology.
Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet.
My work encompassed virtually all facets of intellectual inquiry. My theories on drama, particularly tragedy, shaped the way storytelling is approached in theatre. My legacy endures through countless philosophical schools and universities named after me around the world. My intellectual curiosity and passion for knowledge make me an enduring figure in human history. I contributed to almost every field of human knowledge and was the founder of many new fields. Through my writings and teachings, I tried to encourage us to question, explore, and seek truth in the world around us and to push the boundaries of human understanding.
There is no harm in repeating a good thing.
My philosophies were not only abstract, but also had practical implications. I explored the role of education in shaping a just society, and laid the foundation for what is now considered as liberal arts education. Despite being written more than 2 millennia ago, my works still hold relevance in contemporary discussions on politics, ethics, education, and the nature of reality. My enduring legacy lies in my emphasis on the pursuit of truth, justice, and the quest for knowledge, leaving a lasting impact on our civilization. I am Plato, the legendary philosopher. My teachings continue to inspire and provoke critical thinking, even in the modern world.